Bang! What is up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto Byte. Today is Thursday, November 18th, and we've got plenty to talk about today. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. But first, CJ and Dr. Give Me the News. How you gentlemen doing today?
CJ?
Doing pretty good. You know, Bitcoin just under 60K here at 59. It's going to be interesting. I think we're going to get into some good buying opportunities today. Not only in Bitcoin and ETH, but also potentially in Doge of the Day after this. But how are you doing, John?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm shocked by not by the correction we've seen in Bitcoin and Ethereum, but shocked by how well some of the altcoins, top 100 altcoins. Number 49 Sandbox is up 74% on the last 7 days and 25% in the last 24 hours. Wax, WAXP, it's also a top 100 coin. It is up, gosh, what is this now? 97%, or no, I'm sorry, I missed that one. It is up 70% for the week and up about 1% on the day. Let's see, what's another big one? Mana. I know this is one that both of you guys have talked about a lot. Clearly, the rotation into altcoins, in particular, people taking a shot. These aren't Shiba Inu. These are, Sandbox has been around a while. WaxP has been around a while. You look at circulating supply of those coins as well as Mana. They've got a lot of coins and they've got a lot of trading history. So these aren't ones that just came onto the scene and because they had a dog on it, exploded to the upside. It's a pretty clear rotation into some of these types of coins, while the big coins take a breather.
Yeah, John, and to your point, about that rotation of capital, we talk about how cyclical this crypto space is, and all those assets you mentioned there, Sandbox, Wax, Mana. Those are all NFT plays, and this reminds me very much of August when we saw tons of speculation into the NFTs. That ultimately kind of was a precursor to a lot of this price action we saw in assets like Ethereum, like Solana, like AVAX, Polkadot. So it's very, I think, encouraging that we're seeing some of the similar market dynamics popping up that kind of preceded that move we saw in August and September that carried many assets to new all-time highs. So yeah, although the big boys aren't moving, there is some interesting stuff going on behind the scenes. So excited to talk about that today.
Yeah, and obviously we have a great stock performer today. Well, several. NVIDIA is one, but I'm sure you guys saw this. They said their crypto mining chip sales fell off a cliff this quarter, and to a certain extent, guys, that was a little surprising to me, and I'll tell you why real quick. When you've got everybody pushed out of China, and they're still continuing to do that, by the end of the year, there will be virtually no mining in China. There's very little now, according to, where the hash power is on the planet. But I would think that when those miners moved out of China to other locales, whether it's Malta, the United States, Siberia, Iceland, Greenland, wherever, that they would probably upgrade their chips, but apparently they didn't, which is surprising to me, given how the new chips are usually in such demand by miners. They want the newest, greatest, fastest, most efficient, and boy, for every other aspect of NVIDIA's business, this one was not a good one. This one, like the CEO said, it fell off a cliff.
Yeah, and we've seen, on that note, we've seen some interesting moves in crypto-related equities as well. CJ, you talked a lot about some of the mining stocks, Riot, Mara. Lots of eyes on those today. Riot potentially filling a gap. I believe that you mentioned CJ as well earlier in the week. Any quick thoughts on the crypto-related equities before we dive into some of the big boards here?
Yeah, I mean, they're suffering because I think that the retail market is generally bearish on Bitcoin right now, but I expect that to change throughout later November and really earlier into December, say kind of the first through the third week. I do expect to see a rally in BTC as well as equities. But right now, I do think that we're getting a little bit of a pullback in the equity markets. And, I think a lot of retail traders use stocks like Riot and Mara to get leverage through options and speculate on, Bitcoin's price action through that vehicle. They're just doing the best that they can with the tools available to them. So I do expect price to rally, but in the interim, in these next couple of weeks throughout the end of November, if Bitcoin doesn't do anything and holds this bearish posture, I don't see retail stepping up to buy things like Riot and Mara just yet.
Yeah, CJ, and speaking to that bearish posture, it's been a pretty bearish week. This week, when we started off the week, or I think it was at the end of last week, you had brought up the weekly candles, the monthly candles, took a look at kind of a macro perspective, zoomed out a bit. Today, or like I said, this week has been very bearish. Obviously, the next weekly candle comes on Sunday. Any thoughts on the weekly chart here as we kind of dip below some critical levels that had kind of been maintained so far?
Yeah, the weekly candle closes at Sunday or on Sunday, so we still do have some time, but I will go and bring that up for you. So yeah, always bearish engulfing at the top of an uptrend is always kind of a warning shot fired, for the bullish trend. However, I think the thing that we have to understand and put into context in terms of the technicals, aside from just seeing a bearish engulfing candle, is that we're actually retesting one of the most hardest resistance levels that we've had throughout this entire macro trend. There was a lot of resistance back at around the 60K to 58K level back in May when this distribution was occurring at Bitcoin's latest top. So in theory, former resistance should become new supports. And, I do think that we should see at least a little bit of an auto rally into some resistance from 58K here. So even though we're down and we have that bearish engulfing candle on the weekly, I think it's on the back of some very strong support in terms of the macro perspective. But, we will check back in the next few days once that weekly candle does close.
I got a question for you guys, two of them actually. Number one, did you guys cover the Staples Center in LA becoming crypto.com arena?
Yeah, we talked about that. Huge news, $700 million plus deal. I mean, massive.
Yep, absolutely. So I won't belabor that. But how about this other one? One of the trending topics on crypto Twitter is coin market cap. And it's something a lot of us use, but there is a ton of hate coming out on coin market cap right now. Blue check marks like Adele, not the singer, but Adele, for instance, Adele Meyer. She's been in the space a long time. Let me see, how many followers does Adele have? 56,000 followers, very respectable. She's a blue check. She's saying it's time for coin market cap to go. They're manipulating things by putting up so much information about meme stocks, and that meme stocks are paying them to put this up and so forth. So if you guys just Google coin market cap delete or something like that, you'll see trending, like a huge number of tweets on crypto Twitter saying, delete your coin market cap app, because they're really complaining that coin market cap is taking cash to move people up in the rankings. And, most of us would probably say that feels a little funky if indeed they are doing that. There's a lot of, like I say, blue check marks on Twitter that are saying that is what's happening. So do your own research. Check it out. I'm not saying you should delete coin market cap, but you should definitely be aware that there's a lot of folks out there right now that are deleting that app.
Interesting stuff. I noticed that as well. CoinMarketCap kind of used to just be an objective board where you go and you look, sort the coins by market cap, but now you go on there, it's got these trending coins, these hot coins, and they're always, dog related coins or assets I've never heard of. So, yeah, I think that is a little bit disingenuous to the first time investor, perhaps. But, one of the great things about crypto is at the end of the day, the onus is all on you to do your own research, and, it's all about personal responsibility. So, yeah, but thanks for sharing that, John. One thing I wanted to quickly just share is a chart I found rather interesting from lookintobitcoin.com. I shared this in the chat this morning, but this is an interesting one because it takes kind of Bitcoin's price action over the last 30 days as well as the on-chain activity. So active addresses are literally just the number of Bitcoin addresses that are actively moving Bitcoin. And this chart tracks its relationship, like I said, with the 28-day price change. So basically, whenever the price change gets too ahead of the on-chain activity, and we don't see the active addresses increasing at the same rate at which we see Bitcoin's price action increasing, it tells us that the market's overheating. And we've seen this as recently as earlier this year. Back in October, the market was overheating. We did not see that same on-chain activity that was driving price, and as a result, we saw this sort of liquidation event take place, drive us back down. But now, we're back on the opposite end of that spectrum, retesting the lower bound, implying that on-chain activity is actually very, very high given our current price point and our current price action over the last 28 days. So, I mean, look back as recently as September after that previous liquidation event, this retest of this lower bound was in hindsight an ideal time to accumulate before we made this climb forward now. So the fact that we're, entering into this zone here that tells us that the market's a bit overcooled doesn't necessarily mean a reversal is imminent. As you can see, we spent a good 4 or 5 days, actually about a week, underneath this threshold before kind of bouncing back up and showing some positive price action. That could definitely be the case here as we continue to come down and retest critical levels. But overall, if you look at this chart, anytime we've dipped below this lower bound, it's historically been an ideal time to accumulate. I don't expect this time to be any different. Given what we're seeing in terms of on-chain activity, things tell us that the market's bullish right now, but price action is just very risk off. So I think we have a nice discrepancy between bullish on-chain metrics, but bearish technicals that oftentimes lead to an ideal time of accumulation. So just wanted to quickly share that chart with you guys.
Very nice.
CJ,
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, CJ, I had a quick question for you. This morning, we were both actually taking a look at Ethereum. John was talking about NFTs this morning, Sandbox, Mana, Wax, all of which seeing incredible speculation. How about ETH? We talk a lot about Bitcoin. ETH, what are you seeing there?
If you guys haven't gone in the Sandbox and visited Snoop's mansion, I definitely recommend that you do that, because that was the turning point.
The metaverse mansion.
I had to buy some sand after I visited Snoop's place. That was the turning point for me. But overall, let's get to ETH and discuss where we're at, because I think we're in a very similar place to Bitcoin. I guess I'll just start by highlighting Bitcoin in the short term. We are rebounding from these oversold levels, like you had mentioned, Monty. I have this downward sloping trend line drawn because that is what a lot of folks have been looking for, is kind of regression to 53K or 55K. I'm not going to say that's not possible. I think it's certainly possible, but I would rather buy right now at 58K or for Ethereum, roughly around 4,100, than, chase a rally at, say, 64 or 66K in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So let's go to ETH and check out the technicals. But in all essence, they are very similar to Bitcoin in the current concept of what we're looking at. Let me go ahead and add the MACD as well, because we do have a tentative bullish crossover that I think is pretty ideal for an accumulation range. But we got the 4-hour chart here, and you can see, these previous oversold levels. When we rebounded, we began to see some bullish price action in the interim. And I think we're very close to a bottom. Even if we are to see one leg down, which I'm not particularly waiting for. I like to buy when we're starting to bounce out of these oversold conditions. So I have no problem picking some up at the current levels based on those technicals. And I think Bitcoin has really nice fundamentals as well. When you showed that sentiment, active sentiment address, and that's all going to play into ETH as well. I think if Bitcoin goes to 70 or 72 or 77K, anywhere in that range, I think Ethereum is going to have no problem breaking the 5K resistance level either. So,
I'd point out, guys, that just one thing, since I haven't been able to be on much this week with you. When Mara announced that money raise and just drove all of those stocks into the crapper, it was one of the first times I've kind of seen stocks lead coin, because Bitcoin was doing fine. All of a sudden, Mara's going to raise, a ton of money, diluting its shares, bringing out stock, not doing anything with coin, but they have to finance their operations, which we've talked about all the time. I think that was very interesting this week, the fact that you saw the stocks fall, and that moved on over and helped push Bitcoin down to and through 60, and Ethereum breaking down and all that. It seemed to be triggered over on the stock side rather than the other way around. Just an observation, but I've seen it, and it, when you see Marathon falling from 70 to 48 or whatever, that's a big dip. Is it deserved because of the dilution? Perhaps. I think it's a little overdone, but that was clearly one of the pressures on the coins themselves. And with that said, I'll stop.
No, that's a great point, John. I'm glad you brought that up. Just looking at what we've seen across the board in the crypto assets, historically, Bitcoin has been the front runner. When we see Bitcoin make those moves, the crypto-related equities follow. But we're seeing something a little bit different now. And I think that kind of speaks to our timing in this market cycle. Who's participating in this market cycle? Like CJ said earlier, I think a lot of people are using those crypto-related equities as an avenue of exposure to Bitcoin. And, it's not necessarily your everyday retail trader. It's institutions, family offices, wealthy individual clients that are looking for exposure to Bitcoin with legitimacy. So I think now that we're, at that point in the market cycle, sure, a dip in those crypto-related equities can have a profound effect on the price of Bitcoin, as we just saw. So I think that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. But as always, thank you guys so much. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
John, do you mind if I ask you your top 3 mining picks, or what are the miners that you most actively look at?
Hut 8, and I'm doing a trade in Hut 8 right now. Stock is down, and I'm buying the 1250s in January, selling the 17s against it. Just because that way, as you guys know, I'd have a $4.50 spread on a $4.50 spread, and I'm trying to pay $1.20 for it. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. I do like Mara, especially after this big drop in the cash infusion, CJ. Those would be my top 2.
Thanks, John. I might follow up with you on those earlier in December if we see this rally, because I think trading those Bitcoin equities are a great way to create some beta, especially when using options as the vehicle to do it. So thank you for that, sir. Appreciate it. But
thank you.
Monty, take us away, my friend.
Thank you guys so much for watching. It's always a pleasure. And as you guys know, we'll be doing our members only Doge of the day straight after this. Be on the lookout for that. If you guys would like to join our crypto room, get access to everything that we do in there, you can try it for just $7 for the first month at marketrebellion.com/try crypto. We got a pro charting service, 24/7 community of traders with a chat that is always open. We publish actionable trade insights, one published as recently as this morning, one published yesterday as well. We also put out news pieces, have an extensive education curriculum, and a whole lot more. You can try all that for just $7 for the first week at marketrebellion.com/try crypto. And if you're looking for a place to trade your crypto or hold your crypto, we recommend you check out investvoyager.com, where you can trade 60 plus digital assets, including their native token VGX, which saw a very nice pop in price yesterday. You can also earn up to 12% interest on assets like DOT and 10% on assets like USDC if you hold the Voyager token. So head over there and check them out. And if you do, use code REBEL25. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you again tomorrow on the Daily Crypto Byte. Have a great rest of your day and take care.